Hello, I'm back with another video on structured query language. But in this video, we'll be talking about only the DML commands. That is the insert into command, the update command, and the delete command. So let's look at each of them one at a time. Now let's look at the insert into command. When we talk about the insert into command, what does this command do? Let's assume you have a table named as student and a new student has enrolled into the school. Wouldn't you want to store the record of this student into your table? And that can be done using the insert into command. But the insert into command has two formats. One is I'm planning to insert a complete record. Now, what do I mean by a complete record? For example, let's assume the table where you plan to store the details of the student consists of admission number, name, class, stream, date of birth, let's say address and telephone number. Now, when a student enters the school or enrolls into the school, you want to add a complete record of the student into your table. That means you're aware of his admission number, his name, his class, his stream, his date of birth. All the values are available with you. Then in such a scenario, we will be using the syntax that is given on the screen. What is the syntax? Insert into, and you name the table where you wish to insert the record. Values, and in bracket, the list of values. What do I mean by the list of values? His name, his admission number, his class, his stream, and so on. But remember that if you're ever talking about a string or a date, like for date of birth or his name, you would have to mention the quotes along with it. Is that clear? Okay. Another option is to insert a partial record. What does that mean? As of now, you are only aware of the admission number, the name, the class of this particular student, and you're not aware of his telephone number or his address or his date of birth, which you would, wish to record it later. Then in that scenario, what kind of a row am I inserting? I am inserting a partial record. So in that scenario, what's the syntax to be used? You write insert into the table name, that student or whatever is your table name. In bracket, specify the names of the columns for which you currently have values. I said I have admission number, name, and let's say class. So I write admission number, comma, name, comma, class, because these are the only three columns whose values are currently there with me, right? Then you write the word values, and in bracket, you give the three values or the four values or the seven values that you wish to insert. So I hope it is clear to you what you mean by inserting a complete record or inserting a partial record. It'll be more clear when we look at the examples. So let's move on to the example. Let's assume all our commands I am doing using a table named as EMP. And most of you all must be so aware of this table because this is the table that we commonly use, when we create a table. Okay, I have a table called EMP with EMPNO. Okay, please excuse the EMPNO spelling. It's EMPNO. E-name, hire date, job, salary, commission, and department number. Now, what do I wish to do? I wish to insert a new record into this table called EMP, and I wish to add my own data values. That means the question doesn't provide me the values. I have to insert with my own data values. So how do I go about? Obviously, the name of the command is what? Okay, let me just go for another color. Okay, I write insert the name of the table, into the name of the table. The name of the table in this scenario is what? EMP. Okay. And I plan to insert a complete record. So I write values. An important thing. Is it important to write in capital or small? No, nothing like that. Okay, what did the employee EMP table consist of? An employee number. So let's say an employee number. a name, let's say, I have some issues with my pen today. Okay. Amit, a higher date. I hope you remember the format of the higher date is, YYYY hyphen MM hyphen DD. So let's say that's the higher date. I hope you see the quotes with the higher date and the names. Then the job, let's say he's a clerk. Comma, salary, comma, commission. You enter all those values with a comma, close the round brackets and enter a semicolon. So what does this mean? That this complete record gets added into the table named as EMP. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at another example. I stopped writing partially because I told you some issue with my pen today. Okay, but no issues. Let's go to another example. The other example says that I'm inserting a record, but now this particular employee doesn't get a commission. So what do I do? Okay, so how do I go about? I can do the following. I say insert into the name of the table, that is EMP values. Okay, the first one was employee number. Okay, so I write some employee number. The second is the name. So let me just write some name. The third, let's say, was the job. So let me write a job. The fourth was, let's say, what was it? Salary. Okay, so let me write his salary. Okay, I forgot the higher date. Okay, just fill that. Okay. Now, after the salary is his commission, but this person doesn't get a commission. So what could I write? I could write null, and then I need to write his department number. So I write department number and finally put a semicolon. Mind you, I've missed out the date of the higher date. Okay, the date he has joined, you fill in that as well because we don't plan to leave anything empty except commission column. So when I'm leaving the commission column empty, I am just using the word null. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at another example. Here it says I have to insert a record, but they've only provided me three values. That's employee number, name, and salary, which means the other columns are not available currently. So in that scenario, what do? I use the syntax of partial insertion. What was the syntax for partial insertion? It was insert, okay, into the name of the table, which was EMP. Now, if I'm going to do only insert values into certain columns, I write those column names. So I write EMPNO, name, comma, salary. What does this mean? That I don't plan to enter into all the fields. I only plan to enter into EMPNO, name, and salary. And what are the values that I would want to enter? Let's say is 1641. I'm just repeating the same things again. That doesn't matter. But yes, if it's a primary key concept, you can't. But this is just an individual example. Let's say, oh, let me make it, 1647. And let's say Pooja and her salary 700. So if you look at this example, how is it different from the previous examples? In the previous examples, the number of values that you specify matches with the number of columns of that table. So it's a complete record. Whereas here, the number of values that I've specified how many values? Three. So obviously it's not a complete record, it's a partial record. But into which three columns do I plan to enter the values? I have mentioned next to the table name. So I plan to enter 1647 under EMPNO, Pooja under name, and 700 under the column called salary. I hope the insert is clear. Okay, let's move on with the next command. The next command is the update command. Now, what do you mean by update? You want to make some changes to the data in the table. For example, let's say you are changing the salary of an employee. Let's say you're changing his job. Let's say, you're changing his department. So if you're making any change to the data within the table, then in that scenario, we are using the update command. I hope you remember we are doing the DML commands, data manipulation language commands. All these commands have something to do with the data in the table. It has nothing to do with the table. It has something to do with the data within the table. Okay, what's the syntax for an update command? You write the word update. You later specify the name of the table. Then you write set. The column that you wish to update is equal to what is the new value that you wish to put in that particular column. Comma, if you need to update more than one column at a particular time, you write the next column, the next value, and so on, comma, and you can continue. Where and a condition. What does where and a condition mean? I prefer to do this update for people who satisfy this particular condition. Is that clear? Let's look at an example now. Again, I've come to the same EMP table. Let's look at the first question. It says increase the salary of all employees by 100. Increase the salary means, am I going to change the data in the salary column? Yes. So how do I do that? By using an update command. What was the syntax for the update command? We write the word update. After that, we specify the name of the table, which is nothing but EMP. After that, we write the word set. Now, remember one thing, you write it on multiple lines, you write it on single line, you write in capital letters, you write in small letters. It really doesn't matter. What do you want to increase? The salary. So which column are you trying to update? Salary. And what is the updation? Are you making it 100? Then you write salary equals to 100. No, but I'm increasing the salary by 100. What does that mean? The original salary plus 100. Am I doing it for everybody or am I doing it for people who satisfy a condition? If you look at this question, the question doesn't have a condition. It says increase the salary of employees, of all employees by 100. So I am not talking about a particular employee. So I just put a semicolon. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at another example. Increase the salary of all clerks by 5%. So here I'm talking about only employees who work as clerks. So obviously there is a condition in the question. Okay. How does the update work? You write update, the name of the table, which is nothing but EMP. Set, again, the same column I'm changing, which is salary. But remember, now what is the change? Increase it by 5%. What does that mean? Salary, existing salary, plus 5% of the salary. How do you write 5% of anything? 5 divided by 100 into salary. We write 10% as 10 by 100 into that something. So we're increasing the salary by 5%. So 5 by 100 into salary. Now, if I leave it here, what will the command do? It will increase the salary of all employees. Does the question tell you to do that? No, it's telling you only to do it for clerks. So obviously I have a condition in my question and the condition is written with the where statement. Where, what is it? Job is equal to clerk. Now you need to understand something. If you've seen my previous videos, with the where I could use relational operators, logical operators, in operator, like operator, between operator, all those things can again be used here. You could use the like, the in, the between, anything that we have learned with the select command. And finally, don't forget to put your semicolon. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at, let's say, one more example. change the job of Miller to manager and his salary to 2000. So you are supposed to change the job to manager and salary to 2000. And who are you talking about? An employee named Miller. So obviously, again, I'm making changes to the data. So it's my update command. So you have update EMP set. What are you changing now? The job. So job is equal to, and in quotes, manager, single quotes, double quotes, anything would do. Are you changing only his job? No, you're changing his salary. So you put a comma. The next column that you wish to change is salary. So you write salary. And what is the salary that you're giving? You're not increasing, decreasing. You're saying salary is 2000. So salary equals to 2000. Are you doing it for everybody? No, I'm doing it for someone whose name is Miller. So where E name is equal to, and the name is Miller. Okay, I told you single quotes, double quotes really doesn't matter. Today there's some issue with the pen I'm writing, but anyways, okay. So did you understand this? Update is the name of the command. EMP is the name of the table. Then we have the keyword set, the column you want to update, which is job, the new value, manager, the next column you want to update, salary, the new value, 2000, and for whom? For someone whose name is Miller. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at one more example. It says change the name of Jones to Jonah. How do you do this? Again, obviously making changes to the data. So it's update EMP set. Which column are you changing? What are you changing here? The name. So set E name is equal to. What is the change in the name? The name is Jonah. And who are you changing? For whom are you changing? Somebody whose name is Jones. So where E name is equal to Jones. So somebody whose e-name is Jones, but yes, if there are multiple people with the name Jones, all their names would be Jonah. So in case you were targeting only one employee, then it would have been better to supply his employee number rather than his name. Is that clear? So I hope the update is clear to make changes in the data that is existing in the table. Okay, let's continue with our DML commands. And the last of the DML commands, that's the delete command. Now, for example, a student leaves the school, an employee leaves the company. You don't want his details in the table. So what do you want to do? You want to remove his data from the table. Remove the data is delete the data from the table. So how is the syntax for the delete command? You write delete from and the name of the table. It looks similar to the select from, but in select, we normally write select star or select empno, comma, e name, whatever. Here, remember, there's no star, there is no column name. It's delete from table name, where, and a condition. That means who are you planning to delete? Let's look at the same table with the first example. Delete all the records of employees. So there's no specific employee. You're deleting all the records of an employee, of all employees. So you write what? Delete from EMP, and you don't specify a condition. When you don't specify a condition, it means all of them. So with this command, what will happen is the records of all the employees get deleted. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at another example. Delete the records of employees who have joined before the year 1981. So what would this command be? I say delete, then from the name of the table, that is nothing but EMP, where, and a condition. I'm interested in people who have joined the company before the year. So joined the company is written in which column? in a column named as hire date. So the hire date of the employee is before 1981. Which is the first day of 1981? 1981, 0101. So if I write this, what does that mean? Anybody whose hire date is before the year 1981. Before the year 1981 means what? Before the 1st of January of 1981. Now, most commonly made mistake is people write hire date less than 1981. What you need to understand is in the table, the hire date is not talking about the hired year. It's talking about the date, which is in a YYYY hyphen MM hyphen DD format. So obviously your command should also be in that particular format. Let's assume there was no column called hire date and it was, let's say, year joined. Year joined is only 1982, 1981, 2022. Then in that case, you could have just written less than 1981. Is that clear? So you have to look into the table and see what format is it. Is it the date format? Then you have to write the complete date format. If it's just an integer, you mention just the integer. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at one more example. It says delete the records of employees of department 10 with a salary above 5,000. Okay, let's assume we are firing all the people whose salaries are above 5,000. That also from department 10. So what is the command going to be? Delete from EMP. What is the condition? There are two conditions to be met where DEPTNO is equal to 10 and what should his salary be? His salary should be above 5,000. So in this example, I'm just trying to show you, you could write any number of conditions and or, but here it's and because we're talking about somebody from department 10 with a salary above 5,000. Is that clear? So I hope all the three DML commands are clear to you. The insert into adds a row or a record into the table. The update command makes changes to the data within the table. And the delete command is used to delete the data in the table, okay, or delete a row from the table or delete rows or records from the table. Is that clear? So I hope you have understood everything. And if you have understood, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.